Chapter 12. Run for it. It was getting late. The servants started picking up the kites, hula hoops, and other things off the lawn. The face painters, jugglers, banjo players, and storytellers packed up their stuff to leave. The big lawn looked perfect for a football game again. Well, it has been a lovely day, Mayor Hubble announced. Thank you for coming to Hubble Manor. See you all next Easter, said Mrs. Bubble. Ta-ta! People started making their way toward the driveway. Wait a minute, said one of the parents. We didn't find the golden egg yet. Yeah, nobody found the golden egg, said another parent. You said there are 10 $100 bills inside it, said a third parent. Did I say that? Asked Mr. Mayor Hubble. Ha ha! Well, I was just joking. That's right, Mrs. Bubbles said. The mayor was just joking around. He always sang silly things like that. He's such a comedian. It didn't sound like a joke to me, said a parent. I'm not leaving here until I find that egg, one of the other parents said. That's when I saw the most amazing thing in the history of the world. Mayor Hubble took something out of his pocket like he didn't want anyone to notice. He was slipping it into Mrs. Bubbles' hand, but neither of them was looking down, and they dropped the thing on the grass. It was the golden egg! Mayor Hubble was going to keep the $1,000 for himself. What a scam! There it is, I shouted, the golden egg! The Hubbles have been hiding it the entire time, shouted Alexia. Run for it, Bubbles! Mayor Hubble yelled. Then he picked the golden egg up off the grass and started running. Get them! Somebody shouted. Mayor Hubble and Bubbles Hubble were running across the lawn to where the helicopter was sitting. The mayor ran fast for an old guy, and Mrs. Bubbles moved pretty well for a lady wearing high heels. The Hubbles were at the 20-yard line, the 30-yard line. Kids and parents were running after them. Some of the kids were throwing eggs, molten milk balls, and jelly beans at them. The Hubbles were at the 40-yard line. They were at midfield. The propellers of the helicopter started spinning around. They stole the golden egg, somebody shouted. They're escaping. Stop those criminals, shouted somebody else. Everybody was chasing Mayor Hubble and Mrs. Bubbles. They were at the 30-yard line, the 25-yard line. It looked like they were going to make it to the helicopter and get away. But you'll never believe, in 1,100 years, who came charging out of nowhere. It was the Easter Bunny! Boomer Wiggins, in his Easter Bunny costume, was dashing across the field at full speed. I never saw a man run so fast. Or a bunny. You should have been there. Just before Mayor Hubble reached the helicopter, Boomer took a flying leap and tackled him. A bunch of other people tackled Mrs. Bubbles. Oof! Mayor Hubble grunted as he hit the ground. The golden egg slipped out of his hand. Bumble! We all shouted. A bunch of us kids pounced on the golden egg. It cracked open, and the $100 bills went flying everywhere. The grown-ups were crawling all over on their hands and knees to get them. Somebody call the police! Yelled Boomer Higgins, who was sitting on top of Mayor Hubble. I'm innocent, I tell you, Mayor Hubble shouted. I was going to give you the golden egg, said Bubbles. I really was. Tell it to the cops, said Boomer. Hey, boys, we need something to tie up these two creeps. Can I use your ties? Sure, we all said, ripping those dumb ties off our necks. Boomer used our ties to tie Mayor Hubble's and Bubble Hubble's arms behind their backs. A few minutes later, a police car arrived with the siren blasting. Boomer told the police what happened. Good work, Boomer, one of the policemen said. Have you ever thought about joining the police force? Come with me, Mayor, said the other policeman. You and your wife are going to jail for a long time. But, we all giggled because but sounds just like bottom, even though it only has one T. Grown-ups always get mad when you say that word. Nobody knows why. The policeman shoved Mayor Hubble and Bubbles Hubble into the back of the police car. Na-na-na-na-boo-boo on them. Hooray for Boomer Wiggins, I shouted. He's the best Easter Bunny ever. He's our hero, shouted Alexia. Can I have your autograph, asked Neil. Hip, hip, hooray, said Ryan. Hip, hip, hooray. After it was all over, we had a fancy dinner with ham, mac and cheese, poached eggs, and hot cross buns. Yum! It was almost as good as candy. Maybe Mayor Hubble will stay in jail this time. Maybe I'll start wearing a tie in case anybody needs to be tied up. Maybe Boomer Wiggins will stop eating junk food and become a policeman. Maybe next Easter we'll get some Peeps and some real Chinese food instead of an egg roll. Maybe grown-ups will stop drinking coffee, standing behind podiums, and talking about the weather all the time. Maybe Mr. Klutz will be able to get the dye off his head. Maybe people will stop walking into doors and climbing in and out of boxes all the time. Maybe Mayor Hubble will go to a doctor and try to solve his bathroom problems. Maybe they'll start making tuxedos for penguins. Maybe little Bunny Foo-Foo will stop hurting poor defenseless field mice who are minding their own business. Maybe I'll talk Ryan into eating a sugar-coated dirt clump. But it won't be easy. Now, at the end of this book, so I already sent you guys the extra maze and stuff, but I thought this was kind of cool. It has Professor AJ's Weird Easter Facts. So it says, back in ancient times when springtime came, cavemen would scatter colored eggs around so animals would come and eat them. Then, while the animals were eating the eggs, the cavemen would leap out with spears and kill the animals for food. That's how the tradition of the Easter egg hunt and Easter dinner got started. Okay, Arlo totally made that up. Cavemen, Easter egg hunts. Oh no. Now here are some things. The date, this is a fact. So remember, a fact is something that is true. The date of Easter changes every year. It always falls on a Sunday between March 22nd and April 25th. So if you think about it, it is. Every year, it's always a different day. It's never the same day. Oh, look at that picture. Ooh, fact. So this means it's true. Americans eat about 7 billion pounds of candy every Easter. Can you imagine that? 7 billion pounds. Ooh. Here's another fact. Peeps were invented by a guy named Sam Bourne in the 1920s. The sign on the store where he sold them said, "Just Bourne." Every year around Easter, Americans buy more than 700 million Peeps. That is a lot of Peeps. Can you imagine that? Okay, another fact. So remember, this means it's true. If you want to dye your own Easter eggs at home, all you need is half a cup of boiling water, a teaspoon of white vinegar, and about 20 drops of food coloring. Fact. The first time in the history of the world that the Easter Bunny was mentioned was back in the 17th century in Germany. So the Easter Bunny is over 400 years old. Wow. Fact. The first White House Easter egg roll was back in 1878 when Rutherford B. Hayes was president. He was also the first president to use a telephone. Fact. According to the Guinness Book of World Records, the largest Easter egg in the history of the world was over 25 feet high and weighed almost 9,000 pounds. Wow, can you imagine that? That is crazy. And that is all the fun facts. That's the end of my book, my friends. I will pick up with a new book tomorrow.